Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. However you're listening to my voice, I appreciate it. We're going to be talking about Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. We're going to be talking about New Japan, Pro Wrestling Dominion. But of course, it's WrestleMania weekend. So we're going to be jumping into a few maybe WWE notes, or I would say like maybe whispers, more or less going into WrestleMania. Triple H on Pat McAfee. This is kind of ruffling some feathers. He said, when there's a guy that you want to sign who is on the come up, more or less, this is paraphrasing, who's on the come up and you want to sign him and he signs to the other guys because of a lighter schedule, he knows that he didn't sign, he didn't want to sign that guy in the first place because he's not trying to work hard enough. I think there's something to be said to that. Someone who really wants it is going to work hard. They're not going to be thinking about, load management, if you will. It's kind of like an old school way of thinking. But, I mean, obviously, he's either talking about Sasha Banks, Will Ospreay, or Okada. Mercedes Moné, or Sasha Banks, as I just said, she wants to sign with the WWE. She said it like 3 days before showing up on Dynamite that she wants to sign back with the WWE. Okada, of course, I don't think he is on the come up, and I also think that, I think with the language barrier, I don't think it really was explained. Probably, I'm going to say he's not talking about Okada. He's obviously talking about Will Ospreay, but from Will Ospreay's perspective, he's looking at guys like Kenny Omega, he's looking at guys like Kota Ibushi, he's looking at a fat-ass check, and he's thinking, okay, well, I need to conserve this body, because, it doesn't last forever. I mean, like the two guys I just mentioned, they're not wrestling either at all in the case of Kenny Omega, or in a way that they embarrass themselves because they're not who they could be in years past. So I think Will Ospreay was correct, but I also see Triple H's point from the 2 points of view that those two men are facing. AEW fans are upset that Triple H said this, but I mean, what can you do? There's a lot of AEW talk going into WrestleMania weekend, and we're not talking about Dynamite, we're not talking about Rampage, we're not talking about Collision, we're talking about, CM Punk said this, Cody Rhodes said this, Triple H said this. So I mean, it's interesting that they're staying in the news cycle, but if you are AEW, it's probably not the best way to stay in it. Gulia and Rossy Ogawa. So Gulia, heavily rumored to sign with the WWE, is in Philly along with Rossy Ogawa, the founder of Stardom. They're showing up and attending WWE events. So that's interesting. Of course, they said, is Gulia going to stay with Rossy Ogawa to form a new company like Stardom, since both of them have left Stardom, or is Gulia going to sign with the WWE? Possibility. Triple H kind of a few years ago had the idea of doing these NXTs around the world. Who better than Rossy Ogawa to start that company in Japan? And if you're going to get anybody, get the star that was already a star that you made in Gulia to stay over there as well. So, I mean, if that is what's going to happen, I think they're picking the perfect pair in the current climate to do such a thing. Not a lot of people were happy that Rossy Ogawa left, but Tony Khan seemed to be happy that Rossy Ogawa left. He says that the new regime is much easier to work with. So, of course, it's, puzzle pieces moving around and different things are opening up. We're going to talk more about Stardom and Tony Khan in a little bit. But I did get the chance to watch Bloodsport. This seemed to be even more so than Spring Break, the talk of the town, if you will, going into WrestleMania weekend. Nick Nemeth versus Mike Bailey, who also wrestled RVD that same day. That's pretty cool. Charlie Dempsey, an NXT star, wrestled. Shayna Baszler wrestled. Zoe Starks in her corner. So WWE Raw superstars showing up in GCW. They wrestled Masha Slamovich, or Baszler wrestled Masha Slamovich. Crowd behind Masha, Timothy Thatcher, of course, someone who used to be in WWE, or NXT rather, wrestled, and Johnny Bloodsport, John Morrison, Johnny TV wrestled Josh Barnett, took the L to Josh Barnett. So a lot of WWE luminaries, including CM Punk, Nia Jax, all showing up at this big event, and none other than Nick Khan. Like, who bigger than Nick Khan other than Triple H do you want to appear at your indie show at WrestleMania weekend, taking pictures with, Brett Lauderdale, the owner of GCW, the guy who puts together the Collective. And this is huge. I feel like I've heard more people talk about the Collective this weekend than I have WrestleCon, and that might be the first or second year that's happened. WrestleCon, a staple in WrestleMania weekend, but as we talk about the staple in my eyes in WrestleMania weekend, Supercard of Honor. Of course, this is the first ever piggyback show from this WrestleMania weekend festivities, making it a WrestleMania week for the first time. Of course, you had your Raw, you had even not even a SmackDown at certain times. You had your Hall of Fame, you had your one night of WrestleMania, and then you had your Raw. It was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but that Saturday night, Ring of Honor started doing Supercard of Honor, I think 26, 27, and that started WrestleCon, which was a big convention, and then that later on started the Collective. So I would say those are the three biggest piggyback shows and showcases of WrestleMania weekend, kind of making it a whole industry-wide event rather than just the biggest company in that industry's event. But let's go into Supercard of Honor. I ranked every single match from worst to first, but I got to bring up the cool video package here for the Briscoes. 11 years to the day that Jay Briscoe won the ROH title. Mark Briscoe is going for it. I mean, you can't write this shit. This is great. Playing into the history of the event and introducing, a former Ring of Honor champion. Nigel McGuinness comes out on commentary. Top Flight cutting a promo about the AEW tag team titles. This could have been something done on Dynamite, in my opinion. It's AEW. Of course, it's all under the Tony Khan umbrella, but AEW and ROH, you got to keep that distinction because people are just going to be thinking that this is AEW Light. And speaking of AEW Light, the crowds for AEW are looking light. So if the crowds for AEW proper are looking light, the crowds for AEW Light are going to be even lighter, and you don't want that. So I would keep a distinction with these two groups. I would have done this promo on Dynamite or Rampage or anywhere other than where you did it. But let's rank every single match from worst to first here. This was a good show. I want to say I was a little disappointed with the crowd, and there was a lot of... Last year's was better. Let's just say last year's was better. They put a little bit more into it. And there was a lot of competition. I mean, even though this is what in my opinion the biggest WrestleMania piggyback show, there's a lot of competition around Philly. So it seemed like the crowd wasn't too into it, but there was 8 big matches. The worst match, Johnny TV versus Dalton Castle. Taya and Johnny. Taya out there. Taya loves Johnny. And Dalton with a bunch of new boys, as the other 2 boys that we have come to know and love were fired. Lots of action the outside in the early going. This was a fight without honor. Johnny loving Taya a bit too much, making out here. Back in the ring, 1-2. Dalton kicks out. Johnny controlling the pace on the outside. Kendo sticks come into play. Custom kendo sticks for the couple as they're beating the shit out of Dalton Castle. And then even a leaf blower messing up the hair of Dalton Castle, putting him through a table with the distraction here. Starship Pain 1-2, no. And then Dalton starts sending the boys at Johnny, just suicide dive after suicide dive. Bigger dude after bigger dude. Bigger boy after bigger boy, I should say. And then the biggest boy runs and doesn't quite make it, eats shit on the apron. That was kind of a funny spot. And then they send out the Jack Cartwheel boy. I think, in my opinion, I would have done the Jack Cartwheel boy before the Fat Boy, but I don't know. I guess that is being real nitpicky here for, kind of a silly little match here. Johnny dives on all the boys. They're falling down on broken table parts. It's all breaking loose here. And then this is kind of where I think that the match jumped the shark. I liked it up until this point with all the hilarity of the messing up the hair and the boys diving. Paul Walter Hauser. This guy, apparently he won an Emmy or something. He's been on Dynamite. He had a show at Pro Wrestling Revolver. And now here he is showing up in Ring of Honor. It's like, this is too much of this guy. This guy is not that big of a star. I don't know how he keeps popping up. He must be a really good dude because he was out here. He was, helping Dalton Castle. He ripped off his Ring of Honor shirt to reveal that he had a Pro Wrestling Revolver shirt on. And then it's like, okay, cool. Well, he's hyping up his match for WrestleMania weekend. No, this match was something that happened 2 weeks ago. So he ripped off his shirt to reveal another shirt that was promoting nothing other than something that had already happened. I didn't really, take too kindly to this. Giant TV takes a bump onto a bunch of tacks. 1, 2, 3. Dalton Castle gets the victory here. I don't know. This was didn't do it for me. The end kind of killed it. Number 7 out of 8. The Stardom's Trios match. Azumi, Tom Nakano, Teo Amati, Maya Siria, Minas Shirakawa, and Miyaki. Hopefully I'm not I know I'm butchering those names. I'm sorry. I don't watch too much Stardom, but I feel like this could have been the Vikingo Commander match of this year's Supercard of Honor, a match where it brings a different style, some world-renowned superstars coming in and kind of shake things up. But this match did not do it. It felt like these ladies were going through the motions, running the ropes. I don't think it hit those levels of Vikingo or Commander at any level, but I wanted it to. It did showcase. It was supposed to be a showcase of the Stardom style, but so many companies, including AEW and WWE, have cherry-picked stars from Stardom over these years that we've seen this style. I mean, the Kabuki Warriors are indicative of this style. Io Shirai is indicative of this style. So ladies who have world titles in the biggest company in the world showcase this style on weekly television. Hikaru Shida, and then of course you have Tony Rhodes and Tony Storm and Mariah May coming from this company here who have gold in AEW. So that's kind of it here. Fun match. Both these matches, Johnny TV and Don Castle and the Stardom match was a fun match, but it was on a good show. So it gets ranked a little lower. Mariah May comes out there and celebrates drinking champagne, reforming Rose Gold, a former Stardom tag team champions. And we move on to number 6, the Ring of Honor tag team title match. The Infantry versus the Undisputed Kingdom starts off hot. Former ROH champion Matt Taven out there wrestling the second match on the card. Battle up the ramp. Pile driver to Sean Dean. Undisputed Kingdom can't put the Infantry away, but they battle back on the ramp. Infantry gets the upper hand, hits a Modern Warfare, and then Taven hits the climax on the ramp. This is all happening on the ramp. They just decided they were going to do a bunch of ramp shit. Table set up. Crowd wants the table. Bravo jumps off onto Taven through a table. Wardlow shows up, takes out the Infantry with a lariat. 1, 2, 3. The Undisputed Kingdom get the victory. Okay match. I like Wardlow. I like everybody in this match, but it was. It was kind of just there, so it gets ranked kind of in the middle. Number 5, Queen Amanita versus Billy Starks. Winner is the first ever ROH World Television Champion, Women's Television Champion. Amita working snug here, laying in a big running kick. She's trying to control the pace. Billy gets the upper hand, going after the neck of the Queen. Crowd behind both ladies, dueling chants as they trade shots. Big senton off the top. Big senton off the top. Queen moves. Starks eats shit on the apron. Senton off the top again onto Billy Starks. 1, 2. She kicks out. So she just hauls off and just slaps her. Boom. Air raid crash. 1, 2. No. Billy Starks goes up there again. Hits the swanton. The Queen gets her knees up, and then Billy Starks just starts yelling over her neck. it kind of got me a second, but then they kept showing it. So then I was like, this has got to be bullshit. They put a neck brace on her. They're taking her to the back. The Queen can't believe it. But then all of a sudden, rear naked choke by Billy Starks knocks out the Queen, and you have a new first ever ROH World Television Champion. This match was good. This match, I would say, it's number 5, but it's a distant 5 from 6. Number 4, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang Bullet Club Gold issue a challenge, a trios challenge in the back. Archer and Alex Zane, former 205 Liver and New Japan tag partner of Archer, come out there, along with the former television champion of Ring of Honor, Minoru Suzuki, a staple, a luminary of a lot of these shows at WrestleMania weekend. Suzuki calling out them ass boys, Philly calling them ass boys. Zayn head scissoring Archer into a cannonball in the corner. Archer choke slamming Zayn onto Colton. So these spots were cool. The body of this match is what had me rank it so high, because it was really good. Suzuki choking out Switchblade, still can't put Jay White away. Huge choke slam by Archer. 310 to Yuma on Archer. Zayn off the top, drop kicking both the ass boys. Blade Runner to Zayn, 1, 2, 3. The Bang Bang Scissor Gang retain. But this match was good, but it did not make the podium. What did? Number 3, Hikaru Shida versus Athena. Athena taking Philly to Larry Land here, goes to the outside, back in the ring, starts working over the leg of Shida. Shida firing back, but there's damage done to the leg. O-face block, Katana blocked, Champ goes back to the leg. Shida not quitting. Athena start to getting upset here. O-face off the top, 1, 2. Shida kicks out of an arrogant cover here by Athena. Athena really can't believe it. Falcon Arrow from Shida. Katana, 1, 2. Athena kicks out. Shida screaming in pain for her leg, killing her at this point. Athena hits the O-face, 1, 2, 3. I thought this was a great match. If I'm being nitpicky here, I would have finished it with the first O-face. There was no reason to extend the match another 3 to 5 minutes, because now she kicked out of 2 of the Katana. She kicked out of 2 of Hikaru Shida's finisher, where if you just had the O-face connected, you would have kept that finisher strong, because even though she lost, but she didn't hit her finisher at the end of the day. So you extended it another 5 minutes only to make both finishers look weak at the end of the day, but it was the 3rd best match on the show. The 2nd best match on the show was the Curtain Jerker, the 1st match on the show. Lee Johnson versus Kyle Fletcher. We all knew who was going to win this one before it began. Champ, arrogant, no code of honor here. Big Shotty, a Cody Rhodes guy, trained by QT Marshall. Both his teachers gone, but he still is in Ring of Honor and AEW. This is kind of cool to see. Senton over the top by Big Shotty. Senton off a chair, barely making it over the rail by Fletcher here. Back in the ring, Falcon Arrow off the top, 1, 2. Johnson kicks out. Hurricane Rana, 1, 2. Fletcher kicks out. Big Shotty on the apron, both men down. Can Big Shotty do it? I don't know. Fletcher in control, back in the ring, getting frustrated. Destroyer off the top, frog splash, 1, 2. The crowd believes in Johnson. I believe in Johnson. Brainbuster by Fletcher, 1, 2, 3. The television champion retains. And then we go into the best match on the show. The world title match, Eddie Kingston versus Mark Briscoe. Philly chanting man up as they adhere to the code of honor. Of course, I already said it, 11 years to the day that Mark Briscoe's fallen brother, Jay Briscoe, won the world title. Of course, he's held the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship longer than anyone else. He's held the television title as well. So, I mean, this is kind of, everyone knew what was going to happen here, but we wanted to see it. And we knew Eddie Kingston, you kind of had to honor him because he's been a great champion as well. This is the only match that I would say out of all these matches that had that big fight feel. This is probably why everyone bought a ticket for this show, to be a part of this atmosphere at WrestleMania weekend. Papa and Mama Briscoe at ringside, Chair comes into play early, brawling on the outside. Mark busted open. Champ controlling the pace, staying on Briscoe as he drips blood, but Briscoe ain't lying down. Mark fires back. Phantom driver, froggy bow, 1, 2, no. Just as both men are on their feet, double clothesline, both men down again as the crowd chants both these guys. Eddie hits an exploder to the floor. Mark beats the count at 19. He's feeling it as the crowd starts chanting man up. Back fist from Kingston, kick from Briscoe, a cutthroat driver, 1, 2, no. Jay Driller, 1, 2, 3. Mark Briscoe is the new Ring of Honor world champion. As you know, Give Me Back My Bullet from Leonard Skinner plays an old school Briscoe's anthem, plays not the new Reach for the Sky Boys song. Colt Cabana, Jay Lethal, Matt Taven, Shane Taylor, Ring of Honor stars from the past come out there, fill the ring along with Mark Briscoe's family, confetti flying from the sky, and then you almost forget to shake Kingston's hands, but he still does it. Man, this was awesome. This was by far the best part of the show. 11 years to the day, man. Wrestling is fucking cool sometimes because you get moments like last year when you saw Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens wrestle in the main event of WrestleMania together as a tag team. And then here we have, you know, a former rival of those two, Mark Briscoe, with, I mean, an amazing moment, winning the Ring of Honor World Championship, a company that he was synonymous for. He's been in this company since 2002 and finally getting gold. You gotta love this shit, man. That's what wrestling's about, is moments like this, in my opinion. But let's go over to Japan here. There was a show in New Japan. Crazy to think about. Let's give some results here. We had Frontier Zone wrestling here, 6-man tag with Uleg, Yano, and Ishii getting the victory here. We had Fujita and Zack Sabre Jr. beating Taguchi and El Desperado. Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi beating Gato and David Finlay. Dookie, Yuyamura, and Sanada beating Newman, Great Khan, and Jeff Cobb. Driller Maloney and Clark Connors beating not only Francesco Akira and TJP, but also Kevin Knight and Kushida. Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi win, new champs win the titles from Chase Owens and Kenta. I forgot Chase Owens and Kenta were the champions. That's crazy because Thursday morning, Defy Wrestling World Champion Kenta wrestled on the very first show of WrestleMania weekend, and here he is in Japan. So that's a bigger story that I don't think a lot of people are going to be talking about. Yo versus Sho. Sho gets the victory here for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. We have Jon Moxley and Shota Umino defeating Jack Perry and Ren Narita. Jack Perry, come on. Shingo Takagi versus Evil for the Never Openweight Championship match. Shingo gets the victory here. Another new champion. So we had two new champions going into the main event here. I actually was able to watch the main event, squeezing it in here. Shota Umino versus, Yota Tsuji versus Naito, IWGP World Title, winner of the New Japan Cup versus World Champion, leader of LIJ versus the guy with the most upside in the company who just lost their big star. This company just lost their big star. LIJ member versus LIJ member. When the bell rings, compared to this ROH crowd of the show I just watched, it was night and day. This crowd was incredibly hot for this match. Tsuji feels like a star, and the crowd is behind him here. He's in control until Naito slowly starts controlling the pace. Hurricane Rana from Naito, but that kind of wakes something up in Tsuji. He hits some sort of suplex Falcon Arrow move. 1-2. Naito kicks out. Destino countered by a spear. Both men down. Tsuji on his feet and locks in a Boston Crab, pulls back to almost a lion tamer. The young star Can't put the veteran superstar away, but the crowd believes he can. I also have to say that Tsuji wrestles a lot and looks a lot like 2018 Roman Reigns here. Naito hits a spear, 1 count. Destino, 1, 2, 3. Damn, Naito beat Tsuji. They wanted Tsuji to win, but when Naito hit that Destino, they all counted along. They knew what was going to happen, and then they chanted Naito because, they still love and respect him at the end of the day. But I definitely feel like Tsuji, if they put the title on Tsuji here, it could have been a culminating moment, much like last year when Sonata wrestled Tsuji, and I feel like the crowd definitely wanted Tsuji to win. I would have called an audible last year, lesser so this year. And then as much as I want to say that they should pull the trigger on Tsuji, I want this now more than ever. So as far as booking, they got me hook, line, and sinker now. So I think it was good booking here to have Tsuji lose this one. And then looking back, and last year, would I have wanted this title win as much as I did this year if he didn't lose last year? So I do think they're doing a good job building Tsuji as that top star. They're just not solidifying him with the world title, much to fans like mine's chagrin. As Naito is cutting a promo, Tsuji staying in the ring but licking his wounds, Jon Moxley comes out. That's right, Jon Moxley. And then in Chicago, the Wintrust Arena on April 12th, it's going to be Jon Moxley going for that title against Naito. And then in the back, as Tsuji is cutting his promo for the press conference, David Finlay approaches him, starts calling him a loser, starts saying that he failed. Shingo and the rest of LIJ pretty much say like, hey, fuck off here. We have a little bit of brawl between LIJ and the Bullet Club, and Drilla Maloney and Clark Connors kind of have a pull apart with Hiromu and Bushi, and it looks like they're going to go up against each other for the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship here. God damn, do I love WrestleMania weekend. 45 minutes until we go into Stand and Deliver. I'm going to be giving you my review of that show as well. Fly high. I'm out.